over 1,200 people, including Americans. And sure enough, pro-Palestinian Hamas supporters have already been on campuses and streets in America celebrating that day by calling for the destruction of Israel, the world's only Jewish state. But before they hide their faces and chant their anti-Semitic slogans disguised as nursery rhymes,
Palestine will be free.
I have a few very simple questions. What would it take? How much is enough? Where is the threshold? What would a group, a gang, a faction of people you don't really know much about other than they have massacred over 1,000 people and are unified in the mission to kill men, women, children, infants, and elderly simply because they are Jews? If you have chosen to sympathize with these killers for whatever reason, what would they have to do for you to finally say, well, I made the wrong choice. I'm on the wrong side. I got played. I got suckered into believing in every situation someone had to be the oppressed and someone had to be the oppressor. But these oppressed aren't who I thought they were. I was wrong. I didn't do my homework. I didn't sign up to support mass murder. What would it take if you had to write down 10 reasons that you hated the supposed oppressors, but you couldn't make that list? Would that be enough? If you had to personally endorse or hit the go button to send the assassins to burn months-old infants in their cribs, would that be enough to come back to seeing right versus wrong? If you learned the so-called oppressed Palestinians had actually started 7 major wars against the so-called oppressive Israelis since their independence and rejected peace a like number of times, would that be enough? If you learned your champions had continued choosing violence, including 1,500 terrorist attacks, killing 4,900 Israelis, and that Hamas had launched over 20,000 rockets against Israel since 2005 and perpetrated over 100 suicide bombings leading up to the full-blown massacre on October 7th, is that enough? What would it take? If you learned, in fact, on that day your oppressed victims had attacked and killed more Jews on any single day since the Holocaust, massacring them in their beds, would that be enough? If you learned they had kidnapped hundreds of civilians, including your fellow Americans, abusing and torturing them for months before murdering them and taunting their grieving families with false promises and grim and vicious videos,
My name is Hirsch Goldberg Poland.
would that do it? Would that be enough? If you learned that your heroes were in fact cold-blooded cowards that struck, then ran and hid among children and in hospitals knowing they were sealing the fate of those innocents they hid behind, would that be enough? What would it take? Is there anything they could do to ever get you to move your position? If so, what is it? If you learned these people you celebrate and defend laugh behind your back, call you a useful idiot, seethe with hatred for you, and would torture and kill you in the blink of an eye, would that be enough? Or are you so rigid, fixed, and brainwashed that no amount of information, no amount of egregious, cold-blooded conduct could ever cause you to move your position? Are they going to have to bring their evil to your doorstep? Would they have to start cutting off the heads of your friends and family, raping and beheading your baby sister? If they said, I want you dead just because you're a Christian, would that be enough? What would it take? Seriously, ask yourself the question for real and answer it. Is there anything they could do? Anything? Do you hold them to any standard, any at all? If the answer is no, God help you. For the rest of us Americans, we must stand up for what we know is right and stand up against what we know is wrong. Nobody wants civilians dying in Gaza or Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. But it was Hamas who chose that dark reality. Peace at any price is no peace at all. When a terrorist mission in life is to make you dead, we better stand strong and we better stand together.